in 2016, 17, 18, 19, not full-time because I did have this little hiatus where I chased another software business, but how is it that I was using the exact same niches then, tree service, concrete, insulation, duct cleaning, the exact same niches in those years as I did in 2020, 2021, and this year, 2022. And in those years, I made nothing. And in the last 3 years, I've made millions of dollars in the same niches. I'm going to cut you off and give you the answer. It's because I got freaking good at picking the city. And I stopped listening to people that told me the population matters. And I started critically thinking and go, who gives a fuck about the freaking population, man? Who cares about the population? Guys, think about this. I'm getting a little bit pissed off thinking about how much money I lost because the person that I learned from did not do this, did not have a good criteria for picking a city. I'm going to give you one. Let me ask you this question. If I said to you, I will give you one of the following properties, and I'm talking about websites. I will give you either New York artificial grass. You can either have that one. It's ranked on all the major keywords. Okay. You can have that one and the population's ridiculous. Or I'm going to give you Queen Creek artificial grass. Y'all don't even know where that's at. That's a suburb of Phoenix. Which one would you choose? Well, it depends on what program you're listening to, whose advice you're taking. Are you taking the person who's never made a dollar from this, that's never made the mistake, or are you taking it from the person who's lost millions of dollars and made millions of dollars? I would take the Queen Creek, which is a tiny little like 30,000 town, all day over New York. Why? Because it doesn't freaking matter. Population, that's the number one point I want to get into. Population does not freaking matter with this. And I'm about to blow your mind because some of you guys have been like, oh, I need to be 100,000 or 200. Guys, it doesn't matter. It does not matter how many people live in the city. It matters how many people in that city want that thing. People in downtown New York City live in apartments and skyscrapers, and they're dope. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on it. They just do. There's not huge yards. People in Queen Creek, Arizona, they have yards. They have the pool and they have the turf. They want the artificial grass. And even though there's only 30,000 people, I would way rather take that city over New York. So stop worrying about population. So number one tip when picking a city, population does not matter. So what does? Demand, AKA search volume. What matters is not how many people live in the city, but how many people need that thing and that therefore are searching for that thing. This is another thing that pisses me off. For years and years and years, literally until 2019, when I finally started using my brain and I started asking the tough questions and I started realizing I'm getting information that's not complete. I live in a little city called St. George, Utah. Okay, there's like 200,000 or less people here. I avoided this city like the plague. I was laughing at people that were trying to build websites in this city. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Nobody needs concrete. This is too small. I avoided this city right here where I'm sitting right now because of the advice I got from a program from somebody who didn't make any money doing this thing. They just made money selling the program. And finally, I pulled my head out and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try it because there has to be. I need concrete. They need concrete. I need tree service. They need tree service. And I built a site and it went bananas. It was super easy to rank. It was super easy to sell. I pre-sold all the stuff I do now. And I still, this is what's so crazy. On top of that, I've had the lowest turnover in this city. And right now, given the month, because I do have some times where I have to replace clients, I make anywhere between $12,000 and $15,000 per month in this little tiny city that I live in of 200,000 population that I avoided for years and years and years because all I could think about was population, population, population. Since then, I've gone into cities that are so small. There's a little tiny, I don't even want to share that city. I actually shouldn't share that city because, well, I'm going to share that city because I'm just, whatever. There's another little city. You guys are going to get blown away and go ahead, go Google these cities. Go look up a city called Cedar City. I used to live in this little college town. It's so small. This city I live in is like Vegas compared to Cedar City. Tiny little city, it's cold, not as much money as there is here. Guys, I am telling you right now, I have 2 deals right now. I'm making a couple $1,000 from a couple of deals in a city. I never thought I would even think about that city. And now those are my favorite cities. And by the way, guys, I'm going to give you some broad stroke tips. In fairness to those that are in my digital landlords program that have paid the fee to be inside of the cult, that have paid to be and get the blueprint. I'm not going to, use the training that I use in there that I'm on YouTube. It doesn't make any sense. But I am going to give you guys some tips. I'm going to give you guys some things to think about, some things that you need to really, really consider when you're picking a city. Okay, so number one is population does not matter. Search volume and demand does. Number two, this is something I never even thought about until I started using my brain. I started getting scientific. Thank goodness for 2020, because I started just getting down in the mud. And that's what helped me discover some of those things. CPC, cost per click, does matter. It does for a lot of reasons. And I'm going to tell you the number one reason is because typically competition and a high CPC have a very strong correlation. I'm going to leave it at that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go rewind it and watch it about 10 times and listen to what I said. Let me say it one more time. High CPC and high competition, as far as SEO goes, usually have a high correlation. And there's many other reasons why CPC matters. But if you guys are going into a city and going into, let's say you're picking concrete and you're choosing a city and you're not looking at the CPC, you are out of your mind. You are out of your living mind. And even if you don't plan on running ads and you just want to do organic, I'm cool with that. It still matters. It still matters. And especially if you're running ads, does it matter? So my second tip, cost per click does matter. And I've said this publicly. I've said this in my Facebook group. I say this all the time. So I will say this. My rule of thumb, I have spent $1.25+ million. I don't know the exact number right this second, but it's over that number. And my average CPC has been under $5. I think it's like $4.23, over $1.25 million. So spoiler alert, make sure your CPC is under $5. Moving along. Number three tip, when picking a city to make millions of dollars in, when you're figuring out how competitive that city is, and guys, it matters. And for those of you that are new, if you're gonna pre-sell the site, right? You're gonna build a one-page website, you're gonna run ads, you're gonna use those leads to sell it, and then you're gonna go build the site. Don't you think it's a good idea to look and see, okay, once I land that deal, how hard is it going to be for me to rank the website? Don't you think that's a good idea to look at?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, good. And I know a lot of you guys already know that. But when you're looking at, is it a good idea? Is it competitive? Is it not? Speaking as far as SEO goes. Again, back to the programs and the courses I bought. These programs and these courses, and they were multiple, not any one person to blame. They told me to look at one keyword.
What?
So for example, hey, look and see when you type in concrete Las Vegas, NV, how competitive is it? What companies are ranking for that term? That's what I thought you did. And guess what? Sometimes the keyword that I decided, let's say I chose concrete contractors, Las Vegas, Nevada. I looked it up. That specific keyword, for whatever reason, was not super competitive. And so I assumed because one keyword wasn't competitive, that the whole thing was not competitive. And therefore went and built hundreds of websites in cities I had no business being in, no interest in being in, to be honest. But I didn't know that. I built the website. 6 months later, I'm doing all the stuff I'm supposed to, things not ranking. What the heck? And I start looking back and I go, that site, I never should have built a website in that city, in that niche. It's super competitive. So what I want to tell you guys, my third tip is the keywords when you're looking at how competitive that city is in relation to that niche. The keywords you use to find how competitive that is do matter. And if you have not built your keyword list and you have not figured out what people are searching for and how many people are searching for those terms in that city, before you go look at how competitive it is, you are going to literally be just rolling the dice. You're like, okay, I'm putting $50 on black or 5,000, but in this case, thousands of dollars on black. Hopefully it works. The keywords matter.